Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News, an Indian perspective on All India Radio. This is Manoj Singh Rana, and with me is R.S. Raghu, bringing glimpses of major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment, and more. As the world fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of caution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Maitri Setu connecting India and Bangladesh to boost connectivity and economic opportunities for the people of both countries. New Delhi summons British High Commissioner to convey strong opposition over discussion in British Parliament on agricultural reforms in India. India administers more than 2 million vaccinations in a day across the country. Prime Ministers of India and Japan hold telephonic discussion over advancing Quad cooperation. In cricket, spinner Ravichandran Ashwin is named ICC Men's Player of the Month. And the Indian women's cricket team register an emphatic win over South Africa. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Maitri Setu connecting Tripura with Bangladesh on Tuesday. The 1.9-kilometer long bridge on the Feni River is a significant milestone in the expanding connectivity ties between India and Bangladesh. Our Dhaka correspondent reports.
Heralding a new era in the growing connectivity between India and Bangladesh, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said today that the Maitri Setu will not only strengthen connectivity but also connect our prosperity. He said that the Maitri Setu will help improve connectivity and enhance economic opportunities for people of both the countries.
सबरूम और रामगढ़ के बीच सेतु से हमारी मैत्री भी मजबूत हुई है और भारत बांग्लादेश की समृद्धि का कनेक्शन भी जुड़ गया है। बीते कुछ वर्षों में भारत बांग्लादेश के बीच लैंड, रेल और वाटर कनेक्टिविटी के लिए जो समझौते जमीन पर उतरे हैं, इस सेतु से वो और मजबूत हुए हैं। इससे त्रिपुरा के साथ साथ दक्षिणी असम, मिजोरम, मणिपुर की बांग्लादेश और साउथ ईस्ट एशिया के दूसरे देशों से connectivity सशक्त होगी.
Virtually inaugurating the Maitri Setu on Feni River connecting Sabroom in South Tripura to Ramgarh in Bangladesh today, Prime Minister Modi said that the entire region is being developed as a trade corridor between India and Bangladesh. Prime Minister Modi said that in the last few years, several projects of connecting the two countries by rail, road and waterways have been implemented. The Maitri Setu will further strengthen it. Highlighting the importance of the Maitri Setu, Prime Minister Modi said that the Setu will help improve people-to-people ties as well as open new opportunities for tourism and trade in the two countries.
बांग्लादेश के साथ हमारी मैत्री हमारे व्यापार की भी मजबूत कड़ी सिद्ध हो रही है। इस पूरे रीजन को पूर्वी, उत्तर पूर्वी भारत और बांग्लादेश के बीच एक प्रकार से ट्रेड कॉरिडोर के रूप में विकसित किया जा रहा है।
He said that along with Tripura, it will also benefit Assam, Mizoram and Manipur, which will get connected with Bangladesh and other countries of Southeast Asia. Prime Minister Modi said that with the inauguration of the Maitri Setu, Agartala has become the closest city of India to the international seaport. In her recorded message on this occasion, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina of Bangladesh said that Bangladesh is attaching priority to maximize the use of its geographical location to make it a connectivity hub between South and Southeast Asia. She said Maitri Setu will serve as the lifeline of people. Rajesh Jha, World News, All India Radio, Dhaka.
Foreign Secretary of India, Mr. Harshvardhan Shringla, on Tuesday summoned the British High Commissioner over the conduct of discussions on agricultural reforms in India in the British Parliament, which was held on Monday. A statement by the External Affairs Ministry said that the Foreign Secretary conveyed strong opposition to the unwarranted and tendentious discussions in the British Parliament. It said that the Foreign Secretary made it clear that this represented a gross interference in the politics of another democratic country. He also advised that British MPs should refrain from practicing vote bank politics by misrepresenting events, especially in relation to another fellow democracy.
India has crossed a landmark in COVID-19 vaccination as more than 2 million COVID vaccine doses were administered across the country in the last 24 hours. Union Health Ministry said the cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country has crossed 2 crore 30 lakh on Tuesday. The ministry said more than 43,74,000 beneficiaries aged more than 60 years and over 7 lakh beneficiaries aged more than 45 years with specific comorbidities were vaccinated till date. Peer-reviewed General Medical Journal, The Lancet on Tuesday published findings of a study on the safety and immunogenicity of Bharat Biotech's Covaxin. The study found that the SARS-CoV-2 vaccine BBV152, commonly known as the Covaxin, was safe and immunogenic based on randomized multi-centretto evaluate. The report published on the Lancet website said that the findings were based on phase 2 clinical trials of Covaxin, stating that the study has several strengths to ensure generalizability of the results. It said that the study included participants from diverse geographic locations, enrolling 380 participants across 9 hospitals across 9 states in India. Earlier, the Phase 3 results of Covaxin, developed by Indian Council of Medical Research (ICMR) in partnership with Bharat Biotech International Limited (BBIL), had shown an interim vaccine efficacy of 81% in preventing COVID-19. Prime Minister of Jamaica, Mr. Andrew Holness, expressed appreciation to the government and people of India upon the reception of the country's first shipment of the AstraZeneca vaccine donated by India.
We have our first tranche of vaccine, 50,000 doses, thanks to the selflessness, thanks to the kindness, thoughtfulness of the people of India. And I again wish to thank my good friend Prime Minister Modi for his consideration of Jamaica as one of the countries that should benefit from the vaccine.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
Three steps to stay protected and stay safe from COVID-19. Wear face mask, 2 gaz ki duri to maintain social distancing, maintain hand and face hygiene.
Welcome back to the World News. The relationship between India and Bangladesh is anchored in history, culture, language, and shared values of secularism, democracy, and innumerable other commonalities between the two countries. Connectivity is a key area of cooperation between the two nations. In today's Hotspot section, we are taking a closer look at the bilateral relations between the two countries. In conversation are Ms. Veena Sikri, former diplomat, and Nilova Roy Chaudhuri, journalist.
It's the 50 years of Mujib Borsho this year, and it's a very special year for Bangladesh and India relations. 50 years of Bangladesh's liberation and 50 years of our bilateral relationship. So in that context, today Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji inaugurated the Maitree Setu between India and Bangladesh, built over the Feni River, which essentially flows between Tripura and Bangladesh. And this is meant to be a landmark kind of an event today. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina from Bangladesh also said that the inauguration of the 1.9 kilometer long Maitree Setu would herald a new chapter in close relations between the two neighbors. Why is this such an important infrastructure development between the two countries? What is the historic importance of this particular bridge?
Actually, this is a very dynamic moment and a very important moment in Bangladesh-India relations. There are 3 events coming together. One is the 50th anniversary of the Liberation War, which India and Bangladesh fought side by side and helping the people of Bangladesh to attain their liberation and their independence. The second is the 50th anniversary, the Golden Jubilee of Bangladesh-India bilateral relations. And this is, of course, a great event to be celebrated again shoulder by shoulder and next to each other. The third event, which is also coming together at the same time, is the birth centenary of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And on this occasion, our Prime Minister is planning a visit later this month on the actual day when the genocidal attacks on Bangladesh started way back in 1971. This Maitri Setu, the friendship bridge between India and Bangladesh, is critical. It is very, very important. It is a bridge that has been built perhaps for the first time. This connects Sabroom in India to Ramgarh in Bangladesh. Now, this bridge, just less than 2 kilometers, it opens up a whole new dynamism of connectivity and trade and bilateral relations between India and Bangladesh. It connects from the side of Chittagong port because Sabroom is just 80 kilometers from Chittagong port. Any shipment landing at Chittagong port can be loaded onto a truck and brought to Sabroom in a matter of hours. And from there, once it crosses into the Tripura state and accesses the road and rail connection between the state of Tripura and the other states of the northeast, then you can see that it opens up a whole new dimension, not only for people to people, but also for trade and bilateral relations and for regional and sub-regional relations. And this is the important point that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and Prime Minister Modi have emphasized in their statements, that this bridge really brings Bangladesh and India closer together like never before. Because just as India can carry its goods, Chittagong port is hardly a 1 or 2 day sailing from Kolkata port. Containers can be brought on barges, in fact, to Chattogram port and then taken straight up to the northeast. Whereas if you use the long route, several thousand kilometers via the road route and through the Chickens and Siliguri area, obviously this is going to make a big difference. But just as it opens up the connectivity for India, it also opens up the prospects for Bangladesh investment in Northeast India. It opens up the prospect for Bangladesh's trade with Northeast India because there can be a lot of exchange of commodities, exchange of goods, let us say, fresh fruits, bamboos for processing, for further value addition, which can then be done in Bangladesh, re-exported to other parts of India, re-exported to the Northeast or to any other part of the world. So it really is a win-win situation where both Bangladesh and India can greatly benefit. And if this connectivity, the road and rail link tie up to the India-Myanmar-Thailand road highway that is being planned or is underway, then you can imagine it also opens up all connectivity to the Southeast Asia as well.
So essentially, friendship and sort of bilateral sort of equality, as it were, is the essence of the relationship between India and Bangladesh. Probably makes it the most important relationship for India in the region and for both countries, as it were, to mutually grow. And India's Act East policy, Bangladesh is a kind of a pivot for that. For Bangladesh, India's market is a huge thing. So the Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone for setting up the integrated check post at Sabroom today. So that would also be benefiting South Assam, Manipur and Mizoram and helping the trade and tourism prospects. But more than that, Prime Minister will be visiting Dhaka on the 26th, as you rightly said. And what is the impact of a visit like that on Bangladesh-India relations?
I think this visit is very important. It is really one of the, shall I say, it's been building up to it. And now the way the government of Bangladesh has planned the celebration and Prime Minister is going to be the chief guest there, it is really going to be a very significant, I would say, keystone visit, as it were, because it brings together all that we have been doing with Bangladesh in the last 10 or 15 years, and it carries us forward into a new dimension beyond the Golden Jubilee and how we look at our relations coming ahead. And I think this is exactly what you also mentioned, that the relationship between Bangladesh and India as it has evolved and the speed it is evolving in the last 5 or 6 years is really impressive, because this time, for the first time, you see a strong focus on implementation. In the past, so many declarations are issued, so many projects are announced, and they go on their own speed, slow speed, and so on. But so that was many times a point of frustration. But this time you see that this Maitri Setu and so many other projects like the rail connectivity are announced and then quickly being implemented. So So the finances are there, the credit line is there, and they are quickly being implemented and of great benefit to both the people. And this is key to how the relationship between Bangladesh and India has emerged, and that's why in some cases it's called a model relationship for South Asia, because it is based on mutual benefit seeking a win-win situation, on mutual trust. Both countries trust each other. They are saying, and what they have evolved as projects which are mutually beneficial will actually be implemented, and it is really contributing to the mutual friendship between the two countries at a people-to-people level. So whatever projects are being done, especially these connectivity projects, are all ultimately going to benefit the people. And that is why the integrated check post being inaugurated is very important, because no trade or people-to-people movement can take place without that kind of an integrated check post, which looks after a people's movement and trade movement and everything all in one. So it is a great facilitator of such movement. And that is why, everything is being planned side by side. In some cases, you'll find sometimes a bridge is being built, but beyond the bridge, there's nothing. So to make sure that beyond the bridge, there's something in Tripura, the Prime Minister has also inaugurated a large number of infrastructure projects in Tripura as well. So which will ease the movement once the bridge is ready and the integrated check post is functioning, then it will actually ease the movement in Tripura and make sure that you can connect to the Agartala railhead and so on, so that movement can take place beyond that. This is a very coordinated and planned way in which both countries have been working together on this subject. And side by side, you've seen that there were also trade talks between India and Bangladesh. The water resources secretaries that are going to meet. So there's, a whole movement on a wide and broad dimension of activity, leaving nothing out and making sure that we are moving ahead in a very, very special way indeed.
And what is also wonderful is that with all of this connectivity with our immediate neighboring country, our own country is also getting more integrated in the sense that the mainland of India's connectivity with Northeast India, which was somewhat difficult in certain phases, has now been eased to the extent it has because of Bangladesh. So, the Agartala railway link, which also helps reach Tripura, which was kind of difficult earlier without Bangladesh being involved.
Yes, the Akhora-Agartala rail link, which is a very, very small rail link, connects the Indian railhead at Agartala with the Bangladesh railhead at Akhora, And Akhora was one of the earliest railheads built by the British when under colonial rule. And so it really completes that story of connectivity, so that when you come on the Akhora link, you can straight away move into Tripura and go on to the northeast. And I think that this is really going to be a big eye-opener for trade opener for Bangladesh, because it gives them the connectivity to the northeast and through the northeast to Southeast Asia. So the actual realization of Bangladesh as a kingpin of India's Look East policy is actually happening as we speak. Bangladesh has expressed interest in joining India-Myanmar-Thailand trilateral highway. And so you can imagine that, you'll really have this huge movement of goods and people and linkages. Imagine being able to drive, for example, from, let's say, Dhaka to Singapore, from Guwahati to Singapore, something like that. It's quite amazing what the possibilities are when we look at it. And all because of these little connectivities, the Akhora-Agartala rail link, the Maitri Setu over the Feni River, and so many other little things like that which are making all this possible.
Especially given the fact that Myanmar is a little dicey at the moment, with its politics being a little up in the air. If there is a route available through Bangladesh to Southeast Asia, it also enormously enhances India's trade capacity and potential.
Yeah, but we'd have to go through Myanmar. If it's an international highway and if there's a container truck or something like that, then one would expect that there would be facilities for its movement and so on. But certainly it does a great deal for Bangladesh becoming a part of India's Look East policy and participating in a way that will benefit them. Because, Indian investments in Bangladesh will also now increase substantially, because Indian investments will take place in Bangladesh, where you can set up factories, bringing in raw materials from the northeast, producing the value-added product, taking it back to northeast, taking it to other parts of India, taking it abroad to third countries, and of course selling it in Bangladesh as well. So this has really opened up many, many possibilities. I think it will greatly benefit Bangladesh industry as well, because the entire connectivity organizational structure is Bangladeshi. The trucks are Bangladeshi, they're Bangladesh transport companies managing that. And so they, every time, whether it's by rail, by road, or by waterway, the infrastructure does belong to Bangladesh. And so their companies benefit directly from participation in this process.
In fact, External Affairs Minister, when he visited Dhaka just a few days ago, said that among the reasons we're working so hard to expand our relationship in every dimension, from security, trade, transport and connectivity, culture, of course, being a bedrock between the people. He said that the comfort levels are now so high that there is no issue that we cannot discuss and resolve through amicable dialogue.
Absolutely. In fact, that is what it's really, as I said, a model for South Asian relationship. And Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina mentioned this very strongly in her speech when she said that boundaries shouldn't be barriers to trade, and how the participation of the countries of South Asia in the intra-regional trade among each other is very low by global standards, because in Europe, in Southeast Asia, and so many other regions, the intra-regional trade is much, much higher than what it is for countries of South Asia. And I think that what Bangladesh and India have done to remove their barriers will contribute so much to the bilateral trade that other countries, now Nepal and Bhutan, have already expressed interest in participating. And Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina mentioned this as well in her message, saying that she looks forward to Nepal and Bhutan benefiting from this trade, from this connectivity as well, because they will also use this infrastructure to reach Chittagong port or to reach Mongla port, and they don't have to then depend only on Kolkata port. So this is a great all-round benefit for the countries of South Asia, gives a great strengthening to India's and Bangladesh's sub-regional cooperation project, the BBIN, the Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and Nepal. That gets a great boost. We can join South Asia by building the necessary infrastructure for reaching Southeast Asian countries. Then you have the organization like BIMSTEC getting a great boost as well. And BIMSTEC headquarters are based in Bangladesh, so it will get a real boost.
In fact, External Affairs Minister also said that Bangladesh is a valued partner not only in South Asia but also in the broader Indo-Pacific region. And that's vital because at this point, the whole sort of world's focus, as it were, is shifting to this part of the world. And India and Bangladesh already being in BIMSTEC, as you said, both, keeping the trade lanes open, the sea routes, the maritime navigation routes open is so vitally important. And if Bangladesh also comes on board, it adds a lot of heft to India's intentions and desires in that part of the world.
Bangladesh is definitely a key area when you look at the Indo-Pacific region because of the Bay of Bengal. And, India-Bangladesh cooperation in the Bay of Bengal to keep the sea lanes open, as you mentioned, and to ensure free trade and to make sure that we work together, cooperate for each other's benefit. This is vital. So certainly Bangladesh and India need to cooperate on that. And in that context, we also had right now, as we speak, there are the visit by 2 Indian naval ships to Mongla port. And this is perhaps the first time that Indian naval ships are visiting Mongla port, 50 years after the Liberation War. So it's another breakthrough, another important connectivity, another important link in the cooperation between India and Bangladesh. It's very important indeed.
Thank you so much, Zeenat.
Thank you.
Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, held a telephonic conversation with Prime Minister of Japan, Mr. Yoshihide Suga. A statement from the Japanese Foreign Ministry said that the two leaders recognized that cooperation towards realizing a free and open Indo-Pacific is becoming increasingly important. It said that both leaders shared the view to steadily advance both Japan-India bilateral cooperation and Japan-Australia-India-US quadrilateral cooperation, or Quad. Prime Minister Suga expressed serious concerns regarding unilateral attempts to change the status quo in the East and South China Sea, China's coast, guard law, and the situation in Hong Kong and the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. Furthermore, the two leaders confirmed that they have grave concerns over the situation in Myanmar and they would closely work together in this vein. According to the statement, Prime Minister Modi extended an invitation to Prime Minister Suga for a visit to India for the annual bilateral summit as and when the COVID situation is conducive. Meanwhile, the External Affairs Ministry of India has announced that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be participating in the first Leaders Summit of the Quadrilateral Framework being held virtually on 12th March 2021. Mr. Modi will participate in the Quad meeting along with the Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison, and Prime Minister of Japan, Yoshihide Suga, and President of USA, Joseph Biden.
China has yet again not given any timeline for the return of international students who've been waiting for more than a year now. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson instead told reporters in Beijing on Tuesday that based on mutual recognition of the efficacy of the tests and inoculation, relevant sides can provide facilitation.
Benchmark domestic stocks today logged gains of around 1% amid mixed global cues. The BSE Sensex regained 51,000 mark, while the NSE Nifty reclaimed 15,000 level. The rupee appreciated 32 paise against the US currency. A report from the Business World.
The Sensex surged 584 points or 1.16% to finish at 51,025 and the Nifty climbed 142 points or 0.95% to close at 15,098. The broader market at BSE declined, underperforming the Sensex. The BSE Mint Cap Index fell 0.66%, while the BSE Small Cap Index ended 0.41% down. In the Sensex Pack, shares of 19 companies gained while 11 logged losses. In sectoral indices, 6 out of 19 sectors logged gains. In the global equity market, most emerging Asian share markets rose. Singapore's Straits Times gained 1.2% and Japan's Nikkei 225 climbed 1%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng rose 0.8%. On the other hand, China's Shanghai Composite Index plunged 1.9% and South Korea's Kospi fell 0.7%. European shares were up in intraday trade. London's FTSE 100 surged 0.7%, France's CAC added 0.3% and Germany's DAX rose 0.4%. Oil prices gained amid hope of a recovery in the global economy after the US Senate approved a $1.9 trillion stimulus package. In intraday trade, Brent crude prices were trading around $68.80 per barrel. Back home, gold prices gained 480 rupees per 10 gram at multi-commodity exchange for April contracts, in sync with gains in global markets. Gold futures was around 44,700 rupees per 10 gram. Silver prices also climbed 1,110 rupees to around 66,960 rupees per kilogram for March contracts. And at the forex market, the rupee strengthened 32 paisa to 72 rupees and 93 paisa against the US dollar. Anubha Rohadki for World News, All India Radio.
And now moving on to sports, India's Ravichandran Ashwin was named in the ICC Men's Player of the Month for February. Meanwhile, Indian women's team registered a comprehensive 9-wicket victory over South Africa in the second ODI in Lucknow to level the 5-match series at 1-1.
Legendary tabla maestro Zakir Hussain turned 70 on Tuesday. Hailed as Ustad Zakir Hussain, he was awarded Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan, apart from other prestigious recognitions in the country and the world. Let us listen to a vignette from a virtuoso tabla performance by the maestro to mark his 70th birthday.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. New York Times has reported that pandemic-related travel restrictions have forced the FDA to postpone hundreds of drug company inspections, resulting in backlogs. The Guardian reported that BAFTA has released the full list of nominations for 2021. Nomadland, Promising Young Woman and the Trial of the Chicago 7 amongst the contenders for the Best Film Award.
A quick look at the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Maitri Setu connecting India and Bangladesh to boost connectivity and economic opportunities for people of both countries. New Delhi summons British High Commissioner to convey strong opposition over discussion in British Parliament on agricultural reforms in India. India administers more than 2 million vaccinations in a day across the country. Prime Ministers of India and Japan hold telephonic discussion over advancing Quad cooperation. In cricket, spinner Ravichandran Ashwin is named ICC Men's Player of the Month, and the Indian women's cricket team register an emphatic win over South Africa. India is celebrating the 151st birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let us listen to his favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Mozambique.
फिर पराई जाने पर दुखे उपकार करे तो मन अभिमान.
And with that, we end this bulletin. See you at same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.